Hi, welcome to Art of Academia, a weekly podcast featuring interviews with leading scientists and insider takes on life in academia. Hosted by Komal and Madan, researchers from Cancer Science Institute, Singapore.
I feel like we haven't done this in a while.
Right? It has been so long.
It has, I think. We haven't
No,
done since you came back.
we did.
In person.
We did.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking when you came
The
and we were
meme.
setting up.
Oh.
That was the one, that blog thing.
Oh,
It was right after I came, but then right after it we went to Bromo.
Right, and
I
then it
think
was a big.
sort of a break. But overall, it still feels like it has been a long time.
True. The second break is on me though, because we have had episodes. I just haven't uploaded them.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know the audience will remember or not. But I don't know how many weeks has it been. 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
It has been 2 weeks.
My dad was asking in the beginning when he gave up.
Oh, that is so
He
sweet.
does. He's my biggest fan.
Oh, it's so wholesome,
No
man.
matter what I do, even for blog posts.
Oh,
Uh,
it just warms my heart.
all right. What's up?
What's
How's
up?
life? I have a little bit of a cold. Do I sound like I have a cold? I don't like listening to people's voices when they have a cold.
I-
It gives me like
I see. I mean, I like my voice when I have cold.
what?
Yeah, like of course it sounds. It's one range which I like. It sounds a bit sultry. No, I mean you wouldn't know.
It
I
just
guess.
sounds
but-
mucusy to me,
No.
not sultry. What does sultry even mean? Sultry literally means hot and humid.
Oh, but you understand the
I
way. and-
yeah. I know. Okay. What's up?
What's up? Do you want to talk about the trip?
Yeah,
A
sure.
little bit,
It's
yeah.
a good place to start.
Yeah. We went to Indonesia, Mount Bromo, which is a volcano, and we went to Mount Aijen, which is another volcano. And the cool thing there was that we trekked up, and then we went into a crater which has sulfur in it, and there's like burning blue flames, which was so amazing to see. And also ridiculous how many people are going there. It's a health hazard, but
Is it?
it is a health hazard. Like when we came up, there were signposts saying don't
That's
go
right.
down and stuff, right? And,
That's right.
Actually, I didn't see what sort of effects it could have, but didn't you feel it? When you're
Yeah.
inhaling it, you're
Yeah,
like
I mean-
crying and whatnot.
Yes, I'm not gonna say this is like a thing you should do recreationally. Go inhale some sulfur. Obviously not, but yeah,
A little
fair.
bit. Yeah, but definitely a very interesting experience. The waterfall for me was also very cool. I'm forgetting the name.
I never knew the name.
There was a name. But I think that was the first time I showered under a waterfall, and it was just such a nice massage and very, very fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think overall it was very adventurous. It gave me the adrenaline rush
definitely.
in the beginning of the year. Also quite tiring though, because we were really not sleeping.
That was on us.
Yeah, I guess.
It was not.
Yeah.
I think not necessarily the landscapes. It was
Yeah.
more the logistics of traveling.
I guess. But there were times where we really just did not sleep. We were just functioning on 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And also doing like physical stuff, like walking and hiking and running and whatnot for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? How was your experience?
Yeah, like I guess so. I had done the waterfall before, so I wasn't so blown. I mean, it was a nice waterfall, but it wasn't like I think what I would have really enjoyed is if we got to go under the falls directly, right? So with the part where we went to the falls, it was like a very thin stream of water,
Yeah.
and you couldn't go stand under it, right?
Yeah.
So I think I now I forget. I should ask my parents; they'll remember. But we've been to a couple of waterfalls where that was the case. Like usually there's like a big flow of water, and you can enter it at multiple points. Sometimes by the cliff you can stand and then feel the water
Oh, that's so cool.
falling.
Yeah.
And like this is not many places, but a few places I have gone to. This also happens where sometimes the cliff caves in a little bit, so you can. It's like a cave behind the waterfall. So you can also go there, and
That's
that
so
is
fun.
also
Yeah,
super
yeah,
nice. And you can
yeah.
sit there, and it's so loud that like you can't hear anything else.
Yeah.
So that's a nice place to just sit.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly, I guess where the water falls, it forms like is it lagoon the right word? I don't know, right? It's basically a small pool,
Yeah.
and then it leads off into some river or whatever. But that part is actually quite the water current is not so fast, so you can swim. So it's like a fancy swimming pool, little bit like the one we went to a bit later on, but
yes.
like a scaled up version of it.
Got it. That would be cool.
Yeah. So I guess having done that, this didn't feel so like oh wow first time, but definitely was a super nice waterfall. Mount Bromo itself, I think that was the most underwhelming part
Same.
for me.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
felt like a very touristy destination, right? Like the main
Yeah.
agenda is to go take pictures.
I guess.
So yeah, I don't know how. I guess it's so famous, Mount Bromo, because it looks pretty. I think. I mean, we never climbed it, so maybe the
Yeah,
climb was actually
that's
nice.
true. We did not really climb it either.
Yeah.
And just the vibe of being on a volcano.
Yeah.
And it is an active volcano. It
Yes.
did erupt a few years ago, so that angle is there.
True. So we missed that. But definitely the highlight for me was Aijen, which is the second mountain we went to. Yeah, firstly, the whole experience of climbing it.
Yeah.
It felt like a proper trek, right?
Yeah.
We started super early, all the way
And
the
I
trek.
think in the beginning when we got the gear, like a mask and
Yeah,
headlights and
exactly.
whatnot, that was just like, damn,
You
things
had to,
getting real.
You had to prepare for it. Yeah, that also made it like nice and serious. Yeah, that was just like landscapes was first of all mind blowing. Like the night sky when we started trekking, and then as the sunrise came up, also everything just looked so good. That was throughout.
Yeah.
The sulfur especially, like definitely never seen anything like that. That was very cool. Yeah, I think the challenge is what made it. Like if it was too easy, like if we had driven up all the way, I think we would have liked it less.
Oh, absolutely. I think for me, the most fun parts were the trekking.
Yeah.
And more challenging, the better. Even for the waterfall, I think I enjoyed the one while we were climbing up.
Yeah.
There was some real actual trekking.
Yes.
And there was also this rush to reach because otherwise you can't see it.
True.
I don't know, that just made it a bit more fun. And right now, while we are talking about it, I'm actually getting reminded of Kafka on the Shore again. Because they're also... It's not exactly similar, but the main character, Nakata, he is trying to reach somewhere. And there's a very small sliver of time that he can make it.
Oh.
And so I was just feeling like, yeah, we were actually doing something similar and like trying to really reach it in time. And then it was just a very short period of time where you can experience it. Which made it kind of special. It was nice.
True. And I see this is kind of a thing which I think if you described it to me, I wouldn't be super excited. This is one of those things I guess you have to do, and then you'll be like, oh, this is cool. I mean, sure, some people might like look at it and want to do that, but I think for me at least, if you had told me, I'd be like, that sounds whatever.
Yeah.
But I think doing it.
But to me, climbing down into a crater definitely sounded cool.
Right.
Like, what is happening? We're getting inside the crater at the bottom of it. What are we gonna see? Like, for the longest time, I was just asking, what is it?
There? I see.
What is burning?
Yeah. I guess so. That's exactly what I was trying to hint at. Because when I heard it, I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds like whatever. They were like, there's gonna be blue flames or something. And in my head, I just don't know why I thought I wouldn't be impressed. But when I saw it, I was like, damn. Okay.
What else is up?
I mean, it's been a while since we came back.
Yeah.
What have you been up to since then?
It's been, not really.
1.5 weeks.
It has been 10 days. Okay, so what have I been up to? So what is happening is I'm trying to wrap up the work now and also trying to learn things that I would need later a little bit because I don't want to just reach and then not know anything. So I'm doing that, and there what I need to do is learn some Python and learn some basic single cell RNA sequencing analysis. So I was focusing on that, and very recently, like 2 days ago or so, I found out that we have some single cell RNA data and single cell ATAC-seq data, which could be very relevant to my work right now.
Oh.
So it's really the best of both worlds. I get to learn what I need to learn, and if I get something interesting in this data, it could definitely support my work, and I could just be like, okay, now take all this, do something.
Good. Is this a new data set, or how are you just finding out?
Liren worked on it, so he's not even in the lab, but things just get done. That's just mind-blowing.
Nice. Fair.
Okay, I would maybe just bring this up.
Yeah.
I think in the last episode, we were thinking about like New Year resolutions.
The
and
last
like, what's
episode that we
happening.
released.
Is that the one that we released?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Oh, no. Things have messed up so much.
Yeah.
No, I mean the last one we talked about.
Okay.
To discuss.
Okay. Got it.
Where you talked about your archetype, which I will also get to.
This must be the reverse episode.
Correct. So reflections. New Year. One good thing that has been happening is that I feel like I have started getting inspirations from our podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I think that this is so rewarding and it is so motivating to be doing this more.
That's good. What about it?
Yeah. So I feel like firstly, we have now done so many episodes, like done so many iterations, and we really have content. So just looking back at it is very rewarding. Oh, we have done so much, like we are getting better, we are reaching somewhere.
Yeah.
And then specifically, one thing that I'm taking up is the note-taking episode. I think which was the very first one, and then it has come up in few other conversations as well. But trying to just take that more seriously, documenting research and life. I've started a bit, and it is already helping. Because I think I tend to get a bit chaotic, and I tend to get a bit, I want to do everything. And then obviously, not documenting is not the best strategy when your mind is so jumpy.
Yeah.
So that's really great. And then apart from that, what else? Started listening to Huberman.
This I was not expecting. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a good outcome or not. Okay.
I pick the ones that I like.
That's
yeah,
nice.
but
Which ones have you listened to?
One was like very relevant, I guess, goal setting and all, because it was
Ah,
somewhat relevant to what I've
I
been
don't
thinking.
think I listened to that one.
Yeah, so just tips on goal setting and like just in general how to achieve them. So myths and like stuff. Of course,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, like
Yeah.
we can do an entire undergrad
100%.
degree on it. So I feel that now.
Yeah. You
But
listened to the whole episode?
I skip it a
Ah,
bit,
okay.
because like sometimes it could be quite repetitive, and he's speaking fast and then he's seeing the same point again and again, which is not so enjoyable. What else? While I was making the shorts, so I was again going back to the episodes, and then I went through Anya's episode, and again just that conversation. I felt like she said so many amazing things in it.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you listen to it once but when you start doing it
Re-listen,
again
true.
and again, it's very nice. Another thing was, I think, the scenes episode. So because this will again now link back to the singing interest I have developed lately. But firstly, doing it by myself, which I'm enjoying. It's a nice, interesting thing that I've started. I always was interested. I tried different instruments, but I think maybe my hand-eye coordination is not so great. It never worked. It just did not work out.
Yeah.
But with vocals, I think I'm enjoying more. But yeah, where I was going with this is that doing it with my friends is just even more fun, because they are really into it, and then we have this group every day or the other. Somebody will, put up their whatever they have recorded, and then they're really my mentors. So I would send things and I would really ask specific questions, and they would respond to it. Maybe try this, or like this sort of technique could help. With time, this will improve. This, that. So
That's so nice, actually. Yeah.
and we are like all of us together. So even these two who sing pretty well, but of course get busy with life. But now that I am so enthusiastic, it's also motivating them
For
to
them.
Put up stuff.
Were they like trained or something?
They
Or-
learned, they trained for like a few years.
Damn.
During teenage, I think 9th, 10th standard or something. So which was very nice. Now we have plans of like really recording and like playing in cafes and stuff and whatnot.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Everyone's in a different country?
And no, whenever I go back to
Oh, when
India.
you go back, okay.
Yeah, they are in
Sounds
India.
good.
Yeah, very excited on that. How about you? Have you figured out an archetype?
Yeah,
Yet.
that project. No, I think it's still in that very nebulous alchemist scientist thing, and I think I'm okay to leave it there for now. Like I also feel like this is, I don't know if we spoke about this on the pod, but there is this line of reasoning that you don't want to over define your goals, right? Which I definitely feel is very true. I think it like if you like in a way become very familiar with it, it kind of kills the fun it might have. Like I know, like you need a direction, like which way you want to go.
Yeah.
But I think for me, at least I wouldn't want it to be hyper specified. Like I
Yeah,
don't want to be
yeah.
too familiar. In some ways, I should be like surprised by it. Which is what I was trying to do with the archetype in the first place. Like keep
Yeah.
it kind of vague. But at the same time, I don't want to spend too much time thinking about it. So it's gonna stay in this unfinished, imperfect alchemist, which works
I
for
mean,
me.
this goal is with that vibe.
Yeah.
It is not a very specific goal in the first place
Yes.
that you need to.
Oh, yeah. This Tuesday was airs.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
How
so
was that like? What was it?
So context, this is like a student seminar. So we actually, apparently, the department used to have them long ago, like 4 or 5 years ago before COVID. And I've heard from some old timers that used to be quite nice because there would be like beer that the prof who was organizing at the time, he would just pay for it. And then the idea was that students could present things that they needed to present elsewhere, but in like a more informal, safe space to get some practice and get some more feedback. That was the original
That's
idea.
quite nice, yeah.
And we actually don't have anything like that in CSI. Here, at least, the only way you get some feedback outside of your lab is there is a research presentation that we have, the usual ones, but that is to the whole department and a lot of senior PIs.
Yeah, it is quite serious.
Yeah. This was the first iteration of
Yeah.
them redoing it.
Yeah.
Things are different. Sadly, we don't have beer this time. We don't have pizzas around.
How was it though? How was the
Yeah,
overall
so
talk?
I think the vibes was good. So it was me, I presented, I volunteered to go, and another student from another lab presented. Short presentations, 20 minutes each. I think we managed to keep it quite informal. So mine was on purpose, very informal, threw in some jokes. I didn't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And I think it vibed well. Like, I got a lot of questions.
That's awesome.
Easily 15
Oh wow.
from the only 15 people there.
That's cool.
So
That's
attendance
very
was less, but good interaction.
Yeah. I mean 15 is also not so bad to start with, given that nobody responds on the group.
Yeah.
It's decent.
If you think about it in that lens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean now that these 15 people will now go back to their labs and tell it to another person, next time it's gonna be 30 people.
I hope so. Let's see. I'm not that optimistic.
Okay.
But yeah, but overall very good.
That's
It was like I got some useful feedback for the project as well. Few
That's nice.
things I can work on. But yeah, my takeaway was show more people. Show my work to more people. Try to get more feedback. Get more people talking about it.
Yeah.
Shall we start? It's been
Half an hour.
more. 40 minutes.
Dude.
We haven't started.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing I wanted to talk.
Okay, great. I mean this is fun though. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I want to talk about today, it's actually not like super articulated. It's like a loose collection of related points, and we'll see how they weave together. But basically, I wrote like a blog post a couple of weeks ago. This is when like I felt sick and I took like a week off.
Yeah.
And I was just like doing many things at that time, but mainly resting, right? And I was just thinking about like what a concept resting is, right? Like, so why do we rest?
Just to revive.
Right, to revive, right?
Right.
Like, and I don't know. So actually, let's just start at a simpler place. So when you feel like you need to rest, what do you do?
I would either watch something or talk to someone or just lie down, read something, listen to some music.
Yeah, these are like standard.
Normal chilling things. Oh, I would sketch or paint, of course. Like,
Oh,
that's
interesting.
that
You
was
would consider that as rest.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest relaxations that I can get, I think.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
I feel
I mean,
like
if I'm very physically tired, then maybe not. But if I'm mentally tired, then it's definitely one of the best things to do.
okay, that's very cool. I feel like you have a much better, like much healthier relationship to rest than I do. So I was also talking to a few people. So Aditya, one of my old friends, he like so when I asked him this thing, or like I think the way he thinks about it is he likes to travel, which is to like I think lately he's been into hiking a lot.
Oh, I love hiking.
So
Also. We have to hike more.
yeah, his concept of thing is like just go somewhere. He's in the US now, so apparently lots of mountains you can trek.
Yeah.
So just leave for the weekend, do the whole thing, and then come back on Monday. Fine. And I think my version of that, when I'm feeling like very like I'm really talking like guilty pleasure kind of rest, right? My go-to thing for a long time, it's not even socializing. Like I feel like I have a different need for when I want to socialize, but that does not come under my bucket of resting. For me, it's like most of the time play some games, right? Sometimes it's different. When sometimes there is an itch to like do something creative, but not very often. If I'm being honest, those are rare thingies. But the problem with gaming, let's say, right? It's like you start and then it's super fun. You're having fun. It's fully engaging, which is what I like about it. Like it gives you this rush, and it like consumes you 100%. Like the rest of the world doesn't exist, and you can fully disconnect, right? So I think this feature itself is pretty common. Like people watch TV shows, and I think it's on some level the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it might not be so stimulating, but
you're engrossed in it.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking a lot about anything else.
Exactly. So in some level, you're basically disconnecting from the
You're
world.
switching off, yeah.
Yeah. Which seems like a good idea, but I'm not fully convinced that it is. Because if you're really resting, right? Like I feel like what good rest should do is prepare you to like face the world again. But I feel like this kind of disconnecting rest doesn't have that feature. So especially now, if I've had like a very long weekend of playing video games, and then Sunday night I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm sick of playing it, I'm done, I go to bed, I wake up on Monday, I don't feel like fully prepared to like go to work. In fact, it takes me like a few days to come back to the flow of things.
I feel like, and you are not actively thinking or doing anything, you are just letting yourself into it.
Yeah. So I feel like, this is why I was actually like not mixing, but like paralleling this with traveling, because I saw a tweet which was very nice. I should have saved it, I didn't, but it said something along the lines of traveling or like taking a vacation doesn't really recharge you. It makes me, like, when I come back, it leaves me feeling like I should really be doing something else with life. Like, because every time you go, I guess you enjoy that so much or whatever. For whatever reason, when you come back, there's like a shock of like going back to your work, which is curious, right? Like, if you really want to rest, at least for me, it's true. I don't hate my work. I like what I do. And often when I'm in this mode of like, okay, that time I was sick, so slightly different. But let's say a weekend is coming and I've had a long week. I've like worked pretty hard. My intention is honestly to do something or whatever, like, doesn't matter, but I want to be able to come back on Monday, right? Like, that is definitely something I want. But I feel like the choices I make, like playing video games, doesn't actually do that. That was kind of what I was thinking about. There is no real conclusion to this, except that, like what you said, some activities, like some ways of resting, like they just have different consequences, right? Like how you were saying, painting can be like mentally refreshing.
It is one of the most refreshing things I could do. Even like going on walks and stuff, of course, but painting is, you're thinking of ideas, so that is in a way stimulating. And while you're doing it, of course, you're in a state of flow, and eventually you get something out. So that obviously is also a bit rewarding. Are there other things like that?
So one thing I thought of is like sports, like playing football is like that.
Yeah.
Like, again, it can be physically very tiring, right? So I probably won't do it.
When you're already quite tired.
Yeah. But I mean,
once you get in, you're fine.
I would. But regardless of that, I always come back feeling fresh, very fresh. And that is probably one thing I would put in the thing that prepares me for Monday.
Right.
Like Monday, I might have more energy levels.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like, yeah, but the difference is, I guess, the problem with gaming is, I guess, if I did it only for an hour or two, it might have the same effect of like, oh, I did this thing, it's super fun, and then now I stop and then I do the other things. I think it might have the same effect. But the problem is, like, let's say it's football. After 2 hours, you're all physically done. You can't keep playing. You're just super tired, right?
Yeah.
And then there's schedule conflicts, whatever, people leave and all that.
Yeah.
But gaming doesn't have those constraints. You could actually just play
go
6,
as much as you
7
want.
hours. And I guess that's where it starts to get toxic, right?
Yeah.
You don't stop when you should stop.
Right. And of course, it has a lot of like whatever neurological effects on your brain of just focusing on a screen for so long and like being so stimulated for so long. That will deplete your serotonin,
100%.
oxytocin, whatever.
100%.
So obviously, it's depleting all of it.
Yeah.
And that will get you into a downer.
Yeah, and I mean, there was an article I wanted to write, but I never managed to. And some people are like thinking about this. I'm not the first one to come up with it, but basically this idea that games can like hijack your what is that, reward system. Like, basically you have some drive in life to do things, and if you take games seriously enough, you engage with them enough, you only have limited drive in life, right? And once you start applying that to the game itself, you don't have much left for the other things you want to do.
Yeah, rest of the goals or plans that you actually have.
Which I have felt like when
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want this thing to be fully about gaming though. So let me see, what else did
Other things are like maybe again like doom scrolling.
Actually, I feel like for me, doom scrolling
as
might
bad.
be less worse, because I don't think I can do it more than an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then I'm really done.
Yeah.
After that, I'm like,
Yeah. But for some people, I guess maybe longer,
true.
more frequently during the day. Even I do that, like not doom scrolling, but like just looking at your phone for no reason.
I see. Yeah,
There's nothing coming up on it.
Yeah,
Why?
repeatedly checking.
Yeah, just trying to get that, I don't know what stimulus. our brains are not ready for this. It's just like last 10 years or so, this new feature has come and our bodies are not ready for it.
Yeah, yeah. There is no real conclusion, but I do feel like I randomly stumbled upon to some pieces of content which just, I don't know if I'm like merging them, but it feels like they were all talking about the same thing. So, new article dropped by Visa, and he was basically talking about, he had a longer essay, but there was a segment that was titled "The Dose Maketh the Joy." So he, in reference to him when he was a kid, he would like schedule these fun sessions when his parents are not around. So he would just like put on his favorite TV show and just buy like a ridiculous amount of chocolates and then just eat all of them, like just till he's sick of it. And I guess the point is just that things will be fun when there is like limit, right? If you cross into it, it becomes like pathology, blah 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 blah. Fairly common point, but I like the way he was talking about it. A related one here is, okay. So the first extreme of it is like doing the thing that you really enjoy, but is really bad for you, right? It leaves you phased and you don't want to get back to life, whatever.
Yeah.
But the other end of it is like you can also be too strict about things, right? Like you can try to like, what would be the perfect ways here? Like, I don't know, all you do Saturday, Sunday is like you do your cleaning, you do your cooking, you plan the week ahead.
Yeah. You have everything even planned for the weekend. Like this weekend, like 3 weekends down, I'm gonna meet this person at this hour.
Yeah, exactly. So you could do all that, and that would prepare you a lot for Monday. But something about that also feels off, right? Like it shouldn't be all about prepping for Monday as well. I guess I feel like I need some room where it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I just don't know.
I think for me, I sort of tend to do this sometimes mindfully, but sometimes it does not happen. Is that like Saturday, I would be indulging in like more fun, like chill things, and then Sundays I would sort of start winding down and like start doing things which might prepare me for the day. I mean, of course, a lot of people do that, so that's somewhat of a balance between the two ends of the spectrums that we just discussed.
Yeah, the thing, if I manage to do that I think would work. But the problem for me is like if I start something potentially fun on Saturday, no way I'm stopping on Sunday, right? Because everything I do, they all tend to be like these binge or like obsessive kind of
But
thing.
like apart from gaming, what is it? Like in coding or something, or like the things that you have been doing more recently? Does that also feel draining?
It doesn't feel draining. Oh no, wait. I mean, but it has that disconnecting quality to it. Like if I've done that, let's say if I'm working on building a website, I might not regret it. I might not regret spending 3 days doing that. But definitely when I show up on Monday, I am more detached from my work.
Okay.
Like I don't know if this is a problem that can be avoided.
I think that's okay.
So you're saying Mondays will just be Mondays and there's nothing you can do about it?
No, because you're not going to do this every weekend, right? It's okay to be doing this for a few weekends and like feeling a little bit disconnected on that Monday.
True.
It's not a every weekend thing.
Yeah.
So I feel that's absolutely okay and fun.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Yeah, I guess. So I should have read this earlier, but there was a passage from David White's Consolations. He has one on rest. And he had a nice definition for what it means to be rested. I'll just read one line.
Yeah.
So it says, rested, we are ready for the world, not held hostage by it. Rested, we care again for the right things and the right people in the right way. Which I felt is like a very good definition.
Yeah. All I was going to say is that meditation is one of the best ways to do that, I feel. I finished the introductory course, so very happy about that. But basically, even when you did whatever you did for a long, long time, sometimes you might not be motivated to sit and meditate. But if you get that energy to do, I feel it has the power of just bringing you back in and just like resting you really, even if it is just like 10 or 15 minutes. But then you just suddenly feel more connected to whatever you were doing. Like now that I have started doing, you obviously know this because you've been doing it for such a long time. But for a newbie, doing it in the mornings now, 10-15 minutes, it really connects me with what I want to do next. What is this day? Like, not really planning in those 10-15 minutes, but right after it, just feels like I'm not tired to go to lab or, I'm not scared of things. I'm not worried about things. When will this happen? When will that happen? That is sort of calmed down. So it is a great way to, like, it is one of the best ways I feel to rest.
That's very interesting. Okay, perfect time to mention the second piece of content I watched, which I thought was relevant. You know Kanan Gill?
I do.
Have you seen his stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a new stand-up special.
Okay.
And it's called "Is This It?"
I like Kanan Gill.
I like him too, but you won't. Okay, can you guess what this is about?
Is this it?
Yeah.
Is that the name?
Yes.
And now that we have like talked about meditation and stuff, is it somewhat somewhere there? Not meditation exactly, but like about enlightenment and stuff.
It's dead hard center of that meditation, enlightenment, and
Okay.
is this it? So I was not expecting.
Wow.
So when I was
mean,
watching,
he does some smart comedy sometimes. Is it funny though, or no?
it's a stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
it's-
sometimes for me it can be not so funny sometimes.
I see.
Yeah. Especially for this guy, like some parts of his work I like,
Uh-huh.
and some of it is like, eh.
I see. I haven't seen a lot of it. I don't follow him super closely. The gist of the stand-up, you watch when you're free. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I will.
He basically sets up this premise where I forget the exact phrasing, but his like summary of it is like, give up your dreams, death is coming, time to party, or something like this. Okay, this is the way he phrases it.
Okay.
Okay, I will just explain it because I don't know how else to do it. The first part, apparently, he himself had a lot of anxiety growing up.
Yeah.
And that had been with him throughout, and he links that to like having very ambitious dreams in, like, just having a lot of ambitions in life. Raises a few very good points, which I agree with, not all of them. So then he contrasts that to, okay, that because of that, and I guess he also connects in this death thing, this fear that we're all going to die.
Yeah.
So the conclusion then is like, there is no point to having all these grand ambitions, give them up. Fine. But what he says like is when he did that, he felt like suddenly things weren't all good. Like it just felt like nothing. Like you removed away all the bad stuff. It's not suddenly replaced with good stuff. It's just, like a flat baseline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then there is the question of like, okay, once you acknowledge that it's coming, you've given up your dreams, how do you party, right? That's the sort of the end recognition. And then there he throws in, he explicitly talks about meditation. He talks about a few like YouTube gurus. I was also like blown away. I was not expecting that.
No, I mean, a lot of the comics are depressed.
No, this I'm not surprised by. This I'm
So
not
I
at all
guess, like,
surprised
some of them
by.
are trying to, use these techniques.
I guess I was more surprised that he turned that into a stand-up special for what seems to me like a very mainstream audience. That's what I was surprised by.
Right.
Anyway.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so why I even brought this up, the punchline is that, meditation can help you get rid of your anxieties, right? And then that leaves you in this thingy state. If I, like, the conclusion is going to sound trite because it's like, you just live in the present moment, right?
Yeah.
That is the final thing.
Yeah.
But, so why did I bring it up?
Take your time.
I think it was something you said about, so when you meditate, you said you no longer worry or something. I feel I am in that place a lot with my sessions, where if I sit down to meditate, I will leave it feeling very calm and like feeling very just zen, right? Like not troubled by stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always come with the motivation to do my PhD work. That takes a little bit of
course,
additional
yeah.
maneuvering, coaxing myself.
I mean, I'm not saying it is gonna motivate me like, oh, let's go do this PCR.
I
But
see.
overall elevating my my ability to do things, my ability to think, my ability to be excited about whatever I was gonna do next. Yeah, not obviously specifically towards such technical problems or going and doing experiments and stuff.
Okay.
Just changing my state of mind. I think.
For sure. I'm not sure if we have talked about this, but I've talked to some other friends about this who like, so Aditya again, same guy. He also tried getting into meditation a while ago. I think I don't know how much he has done, but a decent amount. And he had always felt it strongly that it would kill his motivation levels. So like if he meditates, he would then get put into this like very calm, but very like downish state, not depressed, but he's in a state where he doesn't feel like doing anything. Like he
I
just
get
want to
it. I get it.
sit calmly
Yeah.
or something. So he was very concerned, and to the point where he stopped meditating. Like
Hmm.
I don't know if he's doing it now, but and then we've had conversations about this quite a few times, and I think it's true on some level where if you are like a very full-time meditation person, I think ambition doesn't tend to be very high up in your value system.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense, right? Because the
Yeah,
whole
I
project
think
is like,
exactly. It is really telling you nothing matters. And
yeah.
you're like, yeah, nothing matters. Then why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah, and then I guess where you fill the positive stuff, those don't tend to be ambition. People fall into like things like love and compassion. That's where the positive valence seems to come from usually.
Yeah.
There are people who so I'm thinking Sam Harris, full-time meditator, but also very capitalist, money making. I mean, he's not fully focused on money making, but he is someone who you would consider typically successful in the world,
Yeah.
right? He has an app that generates so much money. He has a platform where he talks about like political issues. That's probably the definition of some very Buddhist person not doing. Like if there's something about Buddha wouldn't do is talk about politics.
Yeah.
But he does do it. So he manages to be like both in the world and then
That's
also in Zen. So
Yeah.
definitely possible.
Exactly. There's another instructor who is a full-time instructor. He would come do like all the bhajan and all, and then give lectures, full Gita stuff, which is somewhat similar to Buddhism as well. And he's a full-time lawyer as well. So that is so contrasting.
Yeah.
There he is going and fighting for like somebody's whatever rights. Just that life is so different. And then now he is here in a completely different life where he also has a family. He has a daughter. So it is possible. It is not necessary to be like, oh, really nothing matters and like let me just be.
Yeah, I mean same. Like I also believe that. Like I don't have. I mean, for me, it's like an experiment I'm running in real life. Like we'll see if I can do it or not. But I'm also at the same time not super worried about it.
Yeah.
But I guess it's interesting to consider because definitely there are moments. I mean, with meditation, it's hard to tell, right, whether that really caused it or blah blah blah. But definitely there are days when I have meditated and I feel like that kind of dampened my overall motivation levels.
Really, I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Rivers actually talked about this, right? Like, he said when he was like anxious, depressed, whatever, he had like this well of energy to access to fuel his productivity.
Yeah.
And then when he sort of started like meditation and all that, it killed that anxiety, but it made him less productive. I think there's really something to that. It's probably about like switching where you get your energy from.
Yeah.
And it might be just possible that even if you manage to like fully fuel your work from positive sources, it's possible that these positive ones are just not as intense as the negative ones, and you have to like be okay with that.
I don't know, in the last episode did we end up discussing about our sources of fuel, like fuel sources?
I don't think so.
Can you think of something that is your source?
Yeah, for me, this is a problem I live with every day because I insist on only running on the positive fuel, which makes life very hard, right? So for me, it's curiosity.
Yeah.
Like the perfect day is, I show up to work and then I just randomly stumble onto a problem that is like, seems interesting. And then I can just sit whole day and then figure it out. That is really like the ideal situation. What I hate is my calendar looks like it has an infestation. There is like 10 tasks and then 5 meetings. And then now I just have to go finish it, one by one. Like that is really the last thing I want.
Yeah.
So I feel like what fuels me is definitely curiosity. That would be the number one thing. I'm not super driven by even competition, I want to say. Like, some people have this thing of like, I want to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that so much.
Yeah.
What other positive factors I have? This is going to sound so shitty, but I also don't have this thing of like needing to help others. Like, I think that also is not super intrinsic. I mean, first of all, the kind of work I do, it's not really helping people very directly. So I guess maybe I don't have access to that kind of stuff in the first place, but that's not something that fuels me a lot. Um, Maybe one thing is like some level of mastery. I guess if I do feel like I'm getting better at this, that might be another thing. Like some sense of progression
Yeah.
might fuel it for me.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very
But
interesting.
mainly curiosity.
Very cool.
What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think overall I do function on positivity,
Mm.
but I have not pinpointed on what it is exactly. I will think on it a bit and see if I can figure it out. Yeah, because I think it is nice to figure this out. I only thought about these things after we discussed it in the last podcast, and if I can understand that for myself, I can try to feel it more, or can try to search for more things that work for me.
100%, yeah.
I think, right, while I'm thinking, one for me would be creativity.
Mm.
Doing things that need creativity. Of course, I've been doing that, and that is something that motivates me quite a bit. We'll think a bit more on other sources. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that was mostly what I had on rest. Like the blog post itself, it was just like a quick thing that I wrote, but the main conclusion there was you should kind of pick the mode of rest depending on what you need at the moment. Then any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Not really very related to, somewhat related to what we have been saying, but with the singing project, I have also found out that singing is nothing but meditation on sound. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're just really just, if you're trying to learn to sing or you're trying to learn to play a music, an instrument, all you need to do is just listen and notice the way it's changing and just be in it.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very interesting and very fun kind of meditation. So it's, just been exploring that.
Yeah, that's
and getting
cool.
more insights from it.
I think when I meditate, I also rely heavily, like I lean into sounds heavily.
Yeah, yeah.
It helps me tune in quite nicely. Visuals also help. Breath doesn't work for me.
Meaning, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I stop breathing even.
What do you mean?
Like I'm focusing on something else so much that I stop.
You stop breathing.
Like-
Like you're not inhaling.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Then I have to come back and be like, I need to breathe, girl.
Okay, that's
It's
interesting.
weird, yeah.
Do you like take over your breathing when you meditate?
What do you mean?
Like, you know, some like breathing is usually involuntary, right? But then you can make it voluntary if you want. Like you can take over.
Yeah.
Does that happen when you meditate?
I think, no, not really. I'm doing guided meditations. So the person will say something very interesting,
Yeah.
or like some small exercise they will give. Us exercise mein I just get lost so much.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
It's just that
I need to breathe.
this is such a strange. I don't think I've ever forgotten to breathe, regardless of how concentrated I was on anything.
It's not so long, but then it will come to me that I have not inhaled, and then I need to inhale. So it's funny. I will try to remember if it happened sometime, and then I can tell you exactly when it happened. Because right now, obviously, it sounds very, very ridiculous.